After my parents divorced, my mother made it very clear that she didn't want me. She wanted to leave me with my father, but he left and moved away. That's when my grandparents stepped in and told her, "If you don't want to raise him, we will." My mother agreed, but only under strict conditions. She wanted to legally give up full custody so that if my grandparents ever faced financial difficulties, she would not be responsible for me in any way. My grandmother was broken inside that her own daughter would abandon her child, but she accepted. I grew up knowing my mother was alive, but she was never part of my life. When I was 11 years old, I tried to contact her, but she never replied. That's when I understood she didn't want any relationship with me, and I moved on. My grandparents meant everything to me. They sacrificed their lives, their savings, and everything they had to put me through college so I wouldn't have to work while studying. By the time I turned 22, I had almost forgotten my mother existed. I knew she had remarried and was living her life while I focused on my own dreams. In our neighborhood, there were no auto parts stores, so my friends and I opened a small one. After graduation, the business grew fast. We expanded, bought and sold inventory, and eventually managed to own 2 used car dealerships. I made enough money to give my grandparents back a small part of what they had sacrificed for me. One day, I received a call from an unknown number. I thought it was a new customer, but it was my mother. She asked how I was doing. I answered politely, but coldly. Then she said she wanted to meet. I agreed, thinking maybe she had finally realized she wanted to know her son. We met at a restaurant. She looked older than I remembered and clearly exhausted. She started with kind words, then got straight to the point. She said she had divorced and received nothing from her ex-husband. With shocking boldness, she asked me for about $12,000 to pay her apartment rent and told me to send it before the weekend. I stayed silent for a full minute, then calmly said, "To me, you are now a stranger, and strangers don't ask for money." She replied, "You're my son. You have to help me." I answered, "I am no longer your son." She insulted my grandparents and threw a drink in my face. The next morning, she sent me her bank account details again. That's when I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. I told her I would give her the money in cash on one condition, that she would never contact me again. I handed her the money and left immediately. When she tried to use it, she would discover the truth. The money was counterfeit.